What is up, everyone? We are back. Yeah, that's right. I'm back. I went on a hiatus for a bit because, streaming became super stressful. And I didn't really have the heart in it that I do now. A little bit of an ad break for those who are joining us. So I left, came back, kept trying, alright, I'm just going to try streaming, and it's going to be great, and it really wasn't. I was giving crap content, and, I felt forced. But it's not forced anymore, so cheers to that. So tonight's a whole new ballgame. Whole new. And Wolf already knows what's going on. He's super hyped for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the transition, show you what we're working with, and let you decide. Alright, that's the surprise. It's cool. It's great. Hi! Now y'all get to see my lovely face. I did not even do my makeup. But I did do my hair. My hair's great. You just can't see it because of headphones. I'm actually going to turn my camera off. And we're just going to go right over to here. So, this is what we're working with. I know I keep transitioning you guys to different scenes. I'm not feeling the whole face cam thing tonight. Tonight, we are doing my Macabre Theater. For those of you that don't know what Macabre is, it is the dark, the grungy, stuff normally people don't talk about. Unsolved cases, murder, stuff like that. If you've ever watched Bailey's Murder Mystery Makeup, it's kind of like that. I'm not trying to rip on her or take her ideas or anything, but it's I know a lot about this. I need to put it to use. And so I am. So, with that being said, we are going to start with the oldest first. And that would be this lovely lady. Now, I don't know if you guys know who she is at all. But this is the oldest recorded serial killer with the body count to match. Her name is Elizabeth Bathory, also known as the Countess of Blood. Now, she dates back all the way to 1560, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. I mean, how many people do you know that got away with that much murder? Honestly. So, okay. That is a lot of blood. I'm not even She got away with so much. So she is a Hungarian countess in this early 17th century who is rumored to have murdered hundreds of young women. I think the body count was like 600. Like, it was crazy amounts. So her name is Elizabeth Bathory, or as in English, Elizabeth Bathory. She was a powerful noblewoman whose relations stretched from Poland to Transylvania. Like, there was a lot there, and everybody owed her some sort of debt, not death. Okay, so here's what. She was born in 1560 and died in 1641. So she lived a long life. She was born in Nebia, Hungary, which not a lot of people know, but, you know, kind of a big deal. So, at the age of 11, she was considered beautiful and well-educated and became engaged to Count Frederick Nadesty. At 15 years old, they get married. But the couple didn't have a child until 10 years later. She had 5 children. 2 of them died as infants, but 2 daughters and a son had survived. You know, so she had it pretty freaking rough, alright? There was no getting around her life. It was hard for a woman back then, but she pulled it off. Her husband was a soldier who was off fighting the Ottoman Turks. So this is where you get the inspiration for your Bram Stoker's Dracula, who is a whole different person altogether, and we will get to that at another time. So, her crime. She was accused of a haunting litany of crimes against both female servants and noblewomen who had come for her training and education. She was widowed in 1604, so most of these assaults came after. So they say that all of her crimes were committed due to a sexual motivation, but there's no proof. So basically what they're saying is she went crazy from not having sex, which is cool. I mean, that happens. Depictions of Bathory often mention her bathing in the blood of virgin victims. So it wasn't really a thing, but back then, if you harmed a servant, it was like, okay, well, they probably deserved it, you know, they're serfs, you know, you own them. But to harm any other nobility was a big no-no, and that's what got her caught. So the story goes that Bathory was whipping one of the servants' girls and blood had splattered on her face. She rubbed it in, looked in a mirror, and thought herself younger. That's where the tale of Countess of Blood comes in. She would kill the servant girls. There were 600 servant girls that weren't noble. in her care. At one point, it is said to have been rumored that she had over 15,000 servants, and she killed 600 of them. So that's pretty scary and a lot. And it is rumored to be even more, but the 600 are on record in her own private itinerary. Not itinerary, roster. She would keep count of who came in and who came out. If they were dead, she would scratch them out with red ink. But we all know it was really blood. So yeah, that is your Countess Bathory. And she was hauled up in a castle. See, being born of a powerful family, Bathory could not be put on trial. Instead, she was isolated in Slovakia, in one of her many, many castles. On August 21st, 1614, located in present-day Slovakia, Castle Katif, Bathory, at 54 years old, was found dead. Now, she had survived captivity in this home for 4 years. So she died at 54. That means they didn't catch on to her until she was 50. She lived a full life back then. She was long since past everybody else. So, moral of the story, don't kill people. You will get caught eventually, especially if they're nobles. So now we're going to move on to another really, really creepy tale. So this person has never been found. They don't know who he is. They don't know what his real identity is, who he is, or her. That's right. You know it. I know it. It's the most famous cold case known to date. Jack the Ripper. Okay, so for those of you that don't know who Jack the Ripper is, and I know there's going to be some of you who don't know, which is cool. Jack the Ripper was an infamous murderer who killed at least 5 London female prostitutes in 1888. He was never captured. There is a lot of conspiracies of things of that nature and like to who he was. The area he terrorized was called Whitechapel District in London's East End. Whitechapel back then was known for its prostitutes and desolate. Not a cool place to grow up. So, his identity was never given away. Like, nobody knows who he is. And there is a reason for that. And I'm all for this conspiracy coming up on that one, but we will get there, I promise. From August 7th to September 10th in 1888, Jack the Ripper terrorized Whitechapel District in London's East End. He killed at least 5 and mutilated their bodies in an unusual manner, indicating that he had some medical background in human anatomy. Now, he escaped Scotland Yard, which is the police over there, over across the pond, if you will. And, you know, it was a miracle he wasn't caught. Nobody knows why he wasn't caught. Nobody knows who he is. Hence the blacked out face. So, 5 murders. And he was cheeky about it. I mean, he was totally cheeky about it. He sent letters to Scotland Yard boasting about killing somebody else, or, you know, that weird thing. Like, who does that? So, they would always be titled boss. So the reason that Jack the Ripper is the most known, he gets books, TV series, historical tours, all of that, is because he was never caught, and his murders were sadistic, sociopathic, and more hateful than most citizens could comprehend. Jack the Ripper didn't just snuff out life. He mutilated and humiliated women. His crimes portray abhorrence in the entire female gender. Now, the murder suddenly stopped in the fall of 1888. There were no answers to this. Nobody knows who. Now, in 2014, this is a huge update on this. I promise I will answer that in a minute, Wolf. Now, in 2014, they pulled DNA off a shawl belonging to one of the victims, Catherine Eddowes. Edwards asserted the evidence pointed to Aaron Kaminsky, a Polish immigrant and one of the prime suspects for the grisly murders. Now, the person we're moving on to next will answer your question, I promise you, on who I think it is and why they were never caught. So, why I think he was never able to be caught is because there were no witnesses, and nobody ever survived, and dead men tell no tales. But this next one, he was caught. But there is a huge gap in his crime spree, if you will. He was huge here, and if you have ever watched American Horror Story, he had a whole season dedicated to him and his castle, and it was awesome the way they decrypted it. So let's just go on. Now, you should know who this person is, but to jog everybody's memory, this is a photo of H.H. Holmes, the first American serial killer that was recorded. So, Herman Webster Mudgett, H.H. Holmes. He was a con artist and a bigamist at that. He was sometimes referred to as the Beast of Chicago. He built a murder castle, people. A murder castle. You can always look up the murder castle, but I promise you, it's great. So, this guy, he was born in New Hampshire into an affluent family, so privileged. He had a privileged childhood, was said to be unusually intelligent, all that fun things. He had interest in medicine. So, this is going to tie into what we just talked about. In 1885, Holmes moved to Chicago, Illinois. And built the murder castle. Yeah, the murder castle is in Chicago, Illinois. He found work at a pharmacy using his infamous alias, Dr. Henry H. Holmes. He eventually took over the business and was later rumored to have killed its original owner. Okay, so this guy is already racking up a body count. It is estimated he had over 200 victims. That is a lot. And I'm going to reiterate that a lot, because it is a lot. So, Holmes disappeared for a bit. There's no record of any murders until 1888. Now, we just talked about Jack the Ripper and how all the crime stopped in 1888. Holmes was nowhere to be found in the United States the time that Jack the Ripper was active. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and a lot of people talking about how H.H. Holmes is really Jack the Ripper. And that could be. We'll leave that for you to decide. So, in his murder castle in 1893, a lot of the guests that checked in did not leave. Many in that murder castle held true to a song made by the Eagles called Hotel California. It spurred songs, not that it was true. So, women were seduced, swindled, and then killed. Holmes left Chicago shortly after the World's Fair continued his schemes, including a plan with an associate named Benjamin Fietzel, in which Fietzel would fake his death and collect $10,000 from a life insurance company. Jailed at one point for another fraud, Holmes confided in fellow inmates a notorious outlaw, Marion Hedgepeth, who knew Holmes as H.M. Howard, about the life insurance scheme. So, he blabbed. Dude, serial killer 101. Keep your mouth shut. So, in 1894, he was not ready for that lifestyle. You have to be, like, fully committed to being a serial killer. No evidence, make sure, you know, you gotta check your P's and Q's, watch an investigation, discovery, take notes. Anyway, so in 1894, during his time in custody, he gave numerous stories to the police, once admitting to killing 27 people. So not only did he get caught twice, and then he admitted to killing 27 people. Convicted in 1895, Holmes filed an appeal, but lost his case. So, stuck. Death row. Goodbye. Try again some other time. Estimates of a total number of people Holmes killed ranged from 20 to as many as 200, and many of those bodies are still being dug up from the original site today. Holmes died on May 7th, 1896, when he was hanged for the Pietzel murder, and he was buried in Philly, PA. So that guy's kind of crazy. And I do mean really crazy. Who built this elaborate hotel just to kill people? Like, dude, check your ego. You're not that cool. He just couldn't hang. That's all it was. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to run an ad break real quick, and then we'll be right back with more. There we go. Yeah, see, I don't understand my mic sometimes. Okay, so allow me to repeat. This is the Muffin Man. If you can recall back to your childhood, do you remember the Muffin Man song? Would you believe that it was a song after a serial killer? I mean, we have a nursery rhyme about the Black Death, so why not a serial killer? Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man. Do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane? This is Thomas Linwood, also known as his moniker as Frederick Thomas Linwood, born in 1563. Thomas Linwood, as he was known by then because he hated his first name, Frederick, was said to have killed between 1589 and 1598. So, for a long time, he killed 15 children by luring them into dark alleys with muffins on strings. And he killed 7 rival pastry shops during his reign of terror on the famous neighborhood using a sharpened wooden spoon as a weapon. The Muffin Man nursery rhyme, it was a warning to children to help memorize, to keep them away from Drury Lane and the murderous grasp of the Muffin Man. That's right, kids. The Muffin Man will kill you, just like the Candy Man. Like I said, nothing is safe here. To backpedal a little bit, did you know that Ring Around the Rosie is also about something macabre? It's about the Black Death. Let me break it down for you. Ring around the Rosie. You get red rashes in the shape of rings. Pocket full of posies to help with the smell. Ashes, ashes. We all fall down. And you're dead. Not just like kinda dead, super dead. Like deader than dead. If that makes any sense. So, there went everyone's childhood, right out the gate. Better watch out for the Muffin Man. Now, some of these I don't have pictures for because finding pictures for them were really, really hard to do. Now, to shake things up a bit, we've heard about Erejibet, H. Holmes, the Muffin Man. Now we're going to hit a woman again. You want a muffin? It's muffin time! This lady's name was Belle Gunness. She is reported to have killed more than 40 people between 1884 and 1908 before disappearing without a trace. Norwegian-born Belle Gunness immigrated to the U.S. in 1881. A series of suspicious fires and deaths, mostly resulting in insurance awards, followed. So, she's just setting fires and killing people. Break out the s'more stuff, guys. It's gonna give a scorcher. So, Belle began posting notices to lovelorn columns in entirely wealthy men, or enticing wealthy men to her farm, which after they were never seen again. Authorities eventually found the remains of over 40 victims on her property, but Belle was nowhere to be seen. So, this lady just started killing people and burning places down for insurance money. So, in 1908, when she disappeared, her farmhouse burnt to the ground. Like, there was nothing left. It was completely razed. In the smoldering ruins, workmen discovered 4 skeletons. 3 were identified as her foster children, however the 4th, believed to be Gunnis, was inexplicably missing its skull. After the fire, her victims were unearthed from their shallow graves around the farm. All told, the remains of more than 40 men and children were exhumed. So, this crazy lady is killing people left and right. Completely and utterly insane. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah, there's a lot of people who are just straight up murdering people. Now, this last person, this is the last one for the night, kids. And this ought to ruffle some feathers. Do we know? Can we guess? That is the Zodiac Killer. Now, a composite drawing was made of him, but I don't know. Zodiac Killer took credit for several murders in the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s, but he was never caught. The self-proclaimed Zodiac Killer was directly linked to at least five murders in Northern California in 1968 and in 1969. Of course, that's not going to work. Okay, so we have this notorious killer who has killed, or tried to. Oh, now it works. That is the Discord. You can join it if you like. His first cipher was broken by a high school teacher and his wife. Isn't that crazy? Oh no! Wolf's Light, you are my 102 follower. Props. Okay, so back to the Zodiac Killer. This guy made ciphers. He's said to have a military background in working with ciphers and decoding them. He had 7 confirmed victims. 2 of them had survived. One of them gave a composite drawing. So this is a cold case. It's just the moniker he gave himself. So, in 2020, after more than 50 years, amateur code breakers solved the Zodiac Killer's cipher. The decoded message read, "I hope you are having lots of fun and trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise. So they are afraid of death. I am not, because I know that my new life will be easy one in paradise death. So 3 people were said to have been suspects. Arthur Lee Allen, Earl Van Best Jr., Louis Myers. Those names, they never matched up. Ever. He was never caught. His final cipher never broken. His name is in the final cipher. Only time will tell. Well, that concludes this session of the Macabre Theater. I hope everybody has had a great evening. If you did like this, follow, hit the bell, follow me on my YouTube, which I will post right now. I hope everybody has a good evening. And remember, nothing is what it seems.